Welcome back to the Daily Dope. Um, where we're talking about the corporate marijuana takeover, corporate cannabis takeover. You can add more words to it or subtract them or make a hashtag out of it or whatever you want to do. But that's what we're going to talk about today, specifically in California. All right, so without taking any more time on all that, back to California. Now, in California, we have the story coming out, and it's the same all over. And I think when I read about it in California, it sounds like it's a little more extreme there. Okay. So, and then we're gonna see the pushback from the corporate type side of this argument, which I haven't really focused in on too much because, quite frankly, there really hasn't been too many spokesmen for that side of the argument. But we're going to go ahead and check out Steve DeAngelo's opinion about that. And quite frankly, Steve DeAngelo, in my opinion, represents everything that's wrong with people that are advocating for, cannabis. They do it for the money. And even if they do produce good stuff and have good ways that they enlighten the community and they're providing great medicine, I'm not saying anything against any of that. But when you're in there for the money, it hurts others, it hurts other people. I believe that cannabis is the kind of economy additive that can help everybody. And one talking point that I've been introduced to by others since I started this channel is, and I've always said it too, but it's not something I really try to drive home. But we have hemp, guys. Why are we trying so hard and desperately to make millions and millions of dollars on this marijuana? And when the regulations package comes in places like Michigan and California, what you're seeing is that everybody that there is trying to get a piece of the fucking marijuana money pie. They act like this is just like, oh, remember what El Chapo, he made billions. Everybody can get a piece of this. Guys, it's not like that, man. The reason El Chapo made fucking billions is because it was highly illegal. And he was pushing, tons of weed. So come on. All right. So to be realistic about this and for everybody to win, it can happen. You can let the big producers and the little, whatever you want to call it. You could call it artisanal. You can call it small batch. You could call it like mom and pop, whatever name you want to put on it. It's understood that it's more personal and that more care was put into it. And you can say all you want about big producers being able to do whatever small producers can do, only better, and all that. And that's fine. But what happens is you lose sight of things that were once cared about. And I don't, that's where I stand on this. This was a grassroots effort to get this legalization. And all the people that were the activists were promised to get a piece of it. And now it's almost like they were totally being ignored. So let's go ahead and read this article. Actually, I pulled all three of these articles are from Leafly. So varying opinions on Leafly's position on this issue. Their headlines aren't coming out nearly as bold as mine. I don't even know what I'm going to put for a headline on this. At first I thought maybe I should put growers love growers. All right. Because we look out for each other and we try to help each other. I remember when I lived in Detroit, the growing community there was like, if I was going to be waiting for a crop to come in for like a month, I had enough people that I could go around to and get ounces from here and there. And that would sustain me until I got my shit back together and harvested. So, growers look out for each other, man. They don't try to crush each other. They don't try to oh, I'm the best grower, so I'm going to, make it so nobody else can grow. I'm going to make the competition so they can't keep up because I'm doing it on such a big scale that they can't do it because of the prices. And there is a price line where small producers won't be able to sustain life if the price gets to that level. All right. I don't think we're going to see that for a while, but some of the things I've seen out of these stories are pretty scary. Like tax and trim at $40 a pound or some shit. All right. The backers of Proposition 64, the 2016 Adult Use Marijuana Act, sold California voters on the promise that small and medium businesses would be the engine powering the state's $7 billion legal cannabis market. So far, that's not happening. And why did they think they could do that? Because they already were doing that. All right? Come on, man. This California's market's not going to grow that much when it comes out of the partial shadows. According to a report released today by the California Growers Association, a small farmers advocacy group, fewer than 1% of California's estimated 68,150 cannabis growers have secured state licenses to continue their business legally. The Cal Growers report estimates that 80% of the to 90% of growers who did business with the state's legal storefront dispensaries prior to January 1st, when the new licensing requirements went into effect, are being pushed to the black market. The report confirms what many have already observed. Rather than regulate local cannabis companies, prohibition-minded lawmakers in marijuana-producing regions have banned them altogether. Other popular brands, including some owned by women, have gone into hiatus for a prohibitively expensive permit or zoning requirements or some combination thereof. Quote, if Oakland, from Oakland to Humboldt, from Los Angeles to Gold Country, from cultivation to delivery service, many of the hardworking pioneers of our cannabis marketplace are being left behind, primarily because they are unable to afford one-time costs of regulation, said Hezekiah Allen, executive director for the California Growers Association. Barriers to entry are too high. Allen's group is calling for state lawmakers to review the state's regulations and relax certain requirements. The growers group would like to see the state lower the entry barrier to allow for more existing cannabis producers to join the legitimate market. If they do not, legalization will look a lot like prohibition, Allen said. But worse, economic depression is the best case outcome, according to the report. Economic collapse is the worst case. I think what they're talking about here is that in a lot of these areas, the marijuana growers were basically the only thing keeping the local little small town economies afloat. Like, if the growers aren't making the money and bringing the money into that little town, then nobody else in that little town is going to be able to sustain their small businesses. As of February 18th, fewer than 2,700 licenses for commercial cannabis activity had been issued throughout the state, according to a review of records. A total of 1,220 licenses have been issued to marijuana storefront retailers, delivery services, and distributors, according to the Bureau of Cannabis Control. Separately, through February 18th, the State Department of Food and Agriculture had issued 1,483 licenses to cannabis cultivators out of an estimated 50,000 or more marijuana growing operations throughout the state. Most licensees hold multiple licenses. One entity, Central Coast Farmers Management in Santa Barbara County, north of Los Angeles, has acquired 81 licenses according to records, most of them small outdoor licenses. According to Cal Growers, fewer than 540 distinct entities hold a cultivation permit. 15 companies hold 10% of all licenses. Cal Growers believes that between 1 and 3% of growers interested in a license have been able to obtain one. And going back to this up here, when they were talking about marijuana producing regions where the local governments there have banned marijuana licenses altogether. So what do you do if you lived in one of these areas, one of this like a municipality where you was able to, I don't know, basically get away with whatever you was growing and then sustain life on that, being used to that? Now all of a sudden your wholesale prices for your ounces or pounds just started falling through the floor. Even though, from what I've been hearing, there's really no justification for it. It was like the wholesale prices were falling out because they were acting like, oh, we got a lot of producers, man. We don't need to buy from you anymore. We can get it from somebody else. And that kind of attitude from distributors was just crushing people, man. So, what do you do? Are they going to pay you to up and move? No. You're all of a sudden what you're doing is illegal where you're at, and that's some bullshit, man. That's one of the things about this marijuana legalization process, that whether you're doing this corporate takeover or not, if somebody was already allowed to grow weed somewhere, why the fuck are you gonna all of a sudden tell that particular individual or family or whatever it is, that all of a sudden what they're doing is not gonna work anymore? That's their livelihood, man. That's like going to the librarian and telling her, you know what, we're just going to fucking take this whole library thing and just like get rid of it. So, don't know what to tell you. Pack your bags, go move to where there is a library that you can get a job at, I guess. So, separately through February 18th, cultivators estimated 50,000 or more growing operations throughout the state. Most licensees held multiple licenses. So, yeah, man, that's not very many. One entity, Central Coast Farmers Management in Santa Barbara County, north of Los Angeles, had acquired 81 licenses according to records, most of them small outdoor licenses according to Cal growers. Fewer than 540 distinct entities hold a cultivation permit. Cal Growers believes that between 1 and 3% of growers interested in a license have been able to obtain one. All right, I'm sorry, I read all that already before. The development seems to confirm early warning signs from Cal Growers echoed by state lawmakers from the Emerald Triangle and from San Francisco that the loophole in the state's cultivation rules meant to prohibit cannabis cultivation operations larger than 1 acre until 2023, consistent with rules passed by state lawmakers prior to the AUMA's approval at the ballot, is being abused to allow for marijuana mega farms. And I did do a story about that not too long ago, where they were letting people stack the 1 acre licenses, or maybe they just got rid of the 1 acre rule altogether. So anyway, there are ample signs of consolidation in California's cannabis industry, as well as some bottlenecks in the supply chain. Through mid-January, 15 companies had secured 10% of the licenses, according to a review from the New Cannabis Ventures, a cannabis business blog. Further, according to Cal Growers, most of the micro-business licenses intended for small operators have been used to cover for well-capitalized operations and become vertically integrated, with small and rural boutique cultivators left out. Current California law prohibits cannabis farmers markets or other opportunities for consumers to purchase directly from a particular similar farm-to-table community-sustained agricultural programs, or CSAs. Which sucks. I think those should be allowed. I mean, I am for marijuana should just be like tomatoes, but since I don't think it's ever going to be like that, and I'm a realist, for fuck's sakes, that's getting rid of co-ops and farm stand style, clubs it's bullshit. That is some bullshit. I don't even know if it's constitutional. Who's to say you can't just say, oh, well, we have this club where we get together every month and talk about weed. And then while you're there, people can do whatever kind of business between each other that they want. There should be no fucking problem with that. There's, Tupperware does it. Everybody else does it. What's the problem here? Oh, I know. You're just too worried about the competition. Licenses for distributors. 70% of distributor licenses gone to larger operators. Well, of course. Licenses for distributors, a mandatory step in the supply chain from seed to purchaser, have gone mostly to retailers or large manufacturers, the Cal Growers report says. Of the 200 distribution permits, only 59 have been acquired by a business that appears to be for distribution only. So forget about that idea of somebody that just runs the distribution only. When did anybody ever think that was going to stick? All right, cannabis operators say a bureaucratic maze is hurting participation. At least 7 state agencies and more local entities are involved in the permitting process, forcing would-be permit holders to wade through hundreds of pages of regulations, according to Cal growers. Small businesses also say the tax burden is high, a complaint shared with consumers who have seen retail prices rise by 40% or more, depending on the county. According to Cal growers, California has the highest effective tax rate on cannabis in the United States, and in some areas, when local taxes are added, cannabis is taxed at a rate of 60%. Wow. I think I pulled up something earlier that had pricing in there. I don't got it still. Whatever. Anyway, we might see something about pricing in one of these articles, but we might not. All right, at least part of the blame for such low participation is due to prohibitive county governments. Only 13 counties have issued permits for cannabis cultivation. Of California's 58 counties, 25 have already passed outright bans. And I mean, the same thing happened in Michigan with the Medical Marijuana Facilities Licensing Act. There's people in counties or jurisdictions that already have operations going, but now they got to either move to a place that did opt in, or they got to just shut down and disappear, I guess. Because a lot of places didn't opt in, and some places are talking about a ban. I don't know what the ban would even be effective. It's just a waste of time to talk about it, because if you don't opt in, you don't opt in. In the permitted counties, only 47% of growers are located in areas zoned for cultivation and thus eligible for permits, according to Cal growers. Supposedly, permissive areas like Trinity County have accepted only 500 applications out of 4,000 or more known cultivators. Other cannabis-friendly counties like Sonoma have forbidden marijuana cultivation in rural residential and rural agricultural zones, forcing another 3,000 existing cultivators to the black market, according to Cal growers. Yeah, so this real quick right here, when you ban it, the county next door to where you banned it that didn't ban it just jacked up the price of the real estate there, because like I said, when you legalize marijuana in any way, shape, or form, everybody that has any kind of doings of business with people that do business with marijuana they start putting their hand out, because they all act like they get a piece of this pie when they didn't deserve it. They didn't do anything, and some of these people, like these property owners, they didn't even want people growing weed in their property before. Now that they see the dollar signs, they raise the property money. They want to get as much money as they can. So what about the other side of the coin on this one? All right. To find out the opinion of the people that are for the corporate takeover, for lack of a better way to categorize this guy, and then, Steve DeAngelo, say what you will about him, he did some activism and whatnot. I've never been a big fan of him. All right, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just not a fucking big fan of Steve DeAngelo. Crucify me if you want. I personally am not a fan of the guy. All right, you tell me what his activism is. All right, here's a guy that paid millions of dollars in taxes for his dispensary in San Francisco Bay Area. Here's a guy who opened up Oaksterdam, to teach people how to make money in the cannabis industry. So the guy's, he's not stupid. There's no way anybody could say anything about this guy being anything but a fucking genius. And he has fought the government, so I commend him for that. Other than that, I think his motivations are kind of obvious, and we're about to see that. And I mean, Oaksterdam costs money to go to. I'm from Michigan, so when somebody from Michigan went to Oaksterdam and came back, they acted like they fucking somehow got converted into some kind of weed god. And quite frankly, most of them really didn't have their shit together or even know what the hell they were doing. Everybody learned how to make, crumble with the safest butane way to make BHO. You make crumble. And you know, that's cool. I guess they at least learn how to sustain their own existence if all else fails. So this is all written by Steve DeAngelo. It's opinion on the massive price increases. He's saying massive price increases are the real threat in California. Maybe to you. I mean, price increases, when you legalize weed, we've seen it everywhere. At first, when the regulations are a little bumpy, the places that you go to buy legal weed are going to have some pretty crazy sticker shock going on. After the system gets ironed out, the prices are going to go down. So right out of the gate, your fucking headline is garbage. I'm sorry, dude. That is, you should know, man, on a fucking long enough timeline, these prices are going to go down. How do you know that? Well, look at medical marijuana in California. I'm sure there was a day when you could have fetched $4 grand for a pound of that Cali. I remember back in the maybe late 80s or early 90s when the article came out in High Times talking about California weed's worth more than gold per ounce. So don't give me this horse shit about how the fucking prices are just going to go just shooting through the roof, buddy. You can get away with that headline because you're talking to the fucking people that go to the dispensaries to buy the 20, the 3.5 grams for $80 or more. That's who you can tell that headline to, and they'll be like, yeah, he's kind of got a point there. In my opinion, that's a short-sighted vision of legalization, especially in California. When you guys finally iron all this shit out, what you're going to have is still a surplus of legal pot floating around, and dispensaries are going to be overloaded with the shit. I mean, I've been doing stories about how you guys got 11 million extra pounds floating around per year. Like 2/3 of all the cannabis produced in California is extra. Extra goes out of the state, smuggled out, black market. I don't like categorizing shit like that, but that's what the headlines say. How are you going to iron that 99% of the growers out so that they're not producing black market weed? I mean, how are you going to regulate them? That's what you should ask yourself. You shouldn't ask yourself, oh, how are we going to cut them guys out without making them bleed too bad? That's what you guys are sitting around talking about. But what you should be wondering is how you can cut them in without making yourself bleed too bad. Because if you're talking about just churning this all over to law enforcement, which I've already done the story about, and they already are talking about doing that, then it's going to be ugly. You're talking, what did we say the numbers were over here? 68,150 cannabis growers. It's a lot, man. That's a lot of shit to deal with. California's a big place. So let's hear what he's got to say, though. Lately, we've been hearing a lot of noise about the supposed peril of big cannabis taking over California's adult use market and a perceived need to protect small growers from competition with large cultivators. Stop right there. The thing is we're not trying to protect them from the large cultivators. We're trying to let everybody exist in the same world because, we can. It can be done. And if you don't think it can be done, then that's just greed talking. So the small growers, and I don't know if I speak for all of them, but the small growers don't really care if the big cultivators come in. To them, that's going to be like a measuring stick. Like, oh, look, that the big producer down the road, that stuff's okay, but this is the mom and pop shit or whatever name you want to throw at that. The small producers. Competition should be looked at as who's got better products, not who's able to outproduce the other people or whatever. And it's not the small growers that are worried about you guys. That's funny that you turn that around. No, the corporate takeover we're worried about because it kind of like it puts a new face on what was already happening. And it also puts a lot of people that were making a living off this in a precarious fucking situation. So saying that is very, very short-sighted. the small growers are worried about you guys. We're not worried about, the small growers are not worried about you guys. They're worried about getting taken out because you guys just want to get rid of them altogether. It's not the competition. It's the fact that you guys want to get rid of the small people. Do I need to say that one more time? And what is worried, the people that are worried are the big people, worried about the death of 1,000 cuts competition. Because, and quite frankly, regulators and tax collectors like to have monopolies around. Because if you just have a couple of monopolies, well, you streamlined all the bribe money, you streamlined all the registration fees and taxes and shit, and you don't have to worry about, you know, knocking on too many doors to collect all that bullshit. And when it comes to money laundering and shit like that, yeah, HSBC likes the drug cartels because they can make money off of them, quite frankly. That's why the big banksters don't want marijuana legalized, because they're making pretty good money off the fucking cartels laundering their money there. Getting a little off in the weeds here. Anyway, much of this debate centers around a heavily exaggerated narrative safeguarding mom and pop cannabis growers from big corporate interests. No, there is no exaggeration there. What you guys are talking about is regulating people right out of the fucking game and taxing them right out of the game. Registration fees. Did you hear that? 60% taxes? What is someone ever going to take home per ounce after that? Anyway, it's a familiar storyline, and one that typically depicts small farmers as inherently benevolent and the big guys as innately malfeasant. Nah, not really. It's basically saying, you're basically saying that we think that, you know, the big guys are just gonna create careless, clumsy product and not care about details and all this other shit. And I mean, that has yet to be seen. We're afraid of that, but I'm not sure that's the storyline, dude. The storyline is what I just said it was. We don't want to get totally shut the fuck right out because a few people want to make all the money. That's all there is to it, man. He says, that's far from accurate. We all know circumstances rarely break down along such black and white lines. And the largest part of the cannabis community, consumers, are being entirely left out of this discussion. I'm not leaving them out. I'm just saying that I think that you're short-sighted when you say the price increases are going to freak people out. And also, when I talk about the corporate takeover, I'm picturing the difference between the farm stand and going to Walmart. And even if you go to Walmart and you buy the best possible shit they got, could be organic, locally sourced shit. But at the same time, is that even going to be half as good as the shit you're going to buy at the farm stand? Probably not. So there's that. That's basically when I'm considering the patients and the customers, that's what I'm thinking. Cannabis consumers deserve the same choices enjoyed by shoppers at the grocery store. While everybody would like to be able to afford heirloom tomatoes meticulously tended in small batches and selling for $5.99 a pound, most families can't afford them. Many shoppers can only afford the lowered price tomatoes grown by larger, more efficient farms. Thankfully for these consumers, regulations allow the existence of such tomato farms. But you know, the funny part is you are forgetting about the small producers. They're about to get fucking their doors kicked in. People are telling them, hey, if you don't want to get in the regulation package and start paying these ridiculous fucking fees, and taxes and shit, then you're out of here. We'll arrest you for growing weed. We'll cease and desist your operation, which means we'll come and take all your shit. So no, this ain't like the difference between the farm stand tomato guy and the fucking tomatoes at the store in a package that were grown at a factory farm. Nice try. But what we're looking at is that the smaller guys aren't going to be allowed to exist. So thankfully, you should look at that as a point. You're welcome. All right, here's the thing. Propping up California's small-scale cannabis farmers with regulations that forbid efficient-scale cultivation hurts consumers by limiting choice and competition. Again, you're acting like we're propping up, we're writing a bunch of regulations to make sure that the small guys can stay in. That didn't happen. They had the thing where it was limiting to 1 acre. Understandably, you have some multiple acre facilities going on, and that was going to be a problem for you. But what you're acting like is that all the other regulations are to accommodate the small scale growers as well. When that's just not the case. All the other regulations is to, fortify the state with as much possible, revenue and other money coming in from the big growers as possible. It's in black and white, man. So you can't act like the regulation package is all catering to small growers. It's not. This is simply not what it looks like to me. Okay, it says it inflates retail prices and ultimately threatens the viability of the entire regulated cannabis system. Again, I don't see that. Right now, you're going to see the prices stay high for a while because not too many people are licensed to. The licenses aren't keeping up with the demand. Like all the legal stuff produced couldn't possibly keep up with the demand right now, and that's the way it always is when regulated markets start out. And anything, not just weed. No one knows exactly how it's going to go, and as many producers as you can get online isn't going to be there on time for the actual date when they say, okay, here's when you can start selling it. Using regulation to create the protected market niche for small farmers doesn't take the needs of cannabis consumers into consideration at all. Today's biggest problem for California cannabis consumers is the high price of cannabis compared with other legal states like Colorado and Oregon. It's because they've been selling it for a lot longer. If you go back to when they first started selling it, you're going to see the same burps. The Associated Press estimated new taxes coming into effect on January 1st could add an additional 70% to these already high prices, and most of those taxes will apply to medical sales. I don't know. I'm not going to touch that one. I don't see how you're... How is that not going to hurt the small guys? It is. That's why they can't get into the fucking regulations, because they can't even afford that. Anyway, he goes on. My view on this has been informed by 11 years of serving medical cannabis patients, families with children, veterans on disability, and seniors on Social Security who are already challenged affording the current price of cannabis. Insurance doesn't cover this important medical need, and further increases will put the cannabis they need out of reach. So my question is why didn't you push for some kind of a more protection for the medical marijuana class of producers? I don't know. It seems like this is he's barking up the wrong tree. That's all. Creating a supply constraint. Beyond the looming tax increases, California's new cannabis regulations are more likely to lead to a supply constraint than a glut. Another reason for cannabis prices will rise. This is what happened in every other newly regulated adult use market. Yeah, and that will get ironed out. And one of the ways that they fixed this problem in almost everywhere where it happened, unfortunately for the government, they lowered taxes on cannabis. They lowered taxes on sales to help the consumers, and then they lowered taxes on production so that they could get the prices even lower for consumers. Because I guarantee you, dude, the black market in California is going to laugh at this shit, this article you're writing. As a matter of fact, we're going to read some comments. So, he goes on to say manufactured products, which make up a large and growing portion of California's cannabis market, will be hit especially hard. Regulation of the supply chain will require manufacturers to source feedstock exclusively from licensed growers, and number of licensed growers will be a small fraction of the number that is currently supplying manufacturers. Yeah, that's probably because of the stringent regulations that are cutting all the fucking growers out of the game right now. Did you see this thing back here, dude? Steven? 99% of the people that are growing right now, or probably the estimate I've seen between 80 and 90 from cow growers. And we're looking at that's the people that probably did business with the state's legal storefronts before. Now they're not able to. So, you know, some of the ones that are, 1% of them it's not going to be able to put, you know, put the shit on the shelf. You know what I mean? And what's going to happen is the prices are going to go up because there's not very much shit to work with. That's just, I mean, I don't know, what, you got to explain business to a genius like Steve DeAngelo? I don't think so, man. I think you know what you're doing here, and it's not very cool. So back here he was talking about manufactured products. What are we talking about? Edibles, concentrates, other things like that. I've seen another article where a lot of the popular items in them categories aren't even going to make, you know, they're not even allowed with the new regulations, incidentally. So I think you're going to see a reshaping of a lot of this stuff here. But one thing's for sure is because you are cutting quite a few of these 68,000 growers out of the game, you're not going to have as much of that trim rolling through. And I also seen a thing where they're going to be taxing the shit out of trim. So come on, man. California they went way too far with these regulations, and they're trying to do this everywhere. It's ridiculous. It's like someone heard that they legalized marijuana and they was like, oh shit, everybody in town wants to come and line up to get some money from it. The tax man wants to come and get as much money as they can from it. And, you know, guess what, guys? You fucking way overshot yourself with this regulation. It's ridiculous. And I don't, you know, the one thing you got to do is you got to look at what's already happening and see how it's working. Because the free market, and I guess that's what you could call it at the time, it was a free market other than it was completely illegal before the medical marijuana. And then, I mean, it was still, a lot of these operators were completely illegal. All right, now he's saying these supply constraints combined with new taxes will stress consumers. Less affluent consumers will especially feel the pinch. A large number will turn to lower prices of unregulated market. The tax revenue will drop. Consumers will be exposed to risk. Licensees will become distressed. Criminal organizations will be empowered, and the threat of federal intervention will rise. All of those are highly exaggerated, but they are risks, and that is always a risk of doing business in the cannabis world. For him, his risk is losing a lot of these customers to the black market, and he's really kind of a driving force to that by doing what he's done so far, which was trying to push harder for these big operators to get big licensed facilities. I mean, couldn't you even wait for the 5-year moratorium on that shit? They were going to let 2023, they were going to let it all happen. The need for healthy competition among California cannabis cultivators, driven by an open market that rewards quality products and fair prices, not the size or shape of the company making those products, should be clearer than ever. Now, when you say driven by an open market, is it really that open? You just heard me talk about how these small players are just afraid to even attempt to get regulated because of the cost and production regulations. Basically, either the cost of the regulations or the actual regulations themselves that are going to cost a lot of money to come online with the compliance of. So, you know, this is an older article here. I mean, the story I pulled was this one, February 19th. So this is the new one. And then this is, you know, I had to dig a little bit far back to get this opinion piece. If you go back to a couple days ago, you got this piece here talking about the action that the cannabis regulators sent out a letter. So back to the DeAngelo opinion piece. I read through these opinions, or I guess you could call them opinions as well. I read through the comments section here, and oh my God. This isn't where Steve DeAngelo has some friends, all right? So Humboldt biologist said, everyone should know this is coming from the guy who paid lobbyists to remove the small farmer protections that, in my opinion, carried legalization over the hump to pass. It's not just your opinion, buddy. There's a lot of people that grow weed that fucking didn't want to vote for it, but they use that carrot stick to keep them on board. So don't sell yourself short there, Humboldt biologist. All right, and Prop 64 would have never passed without them. Of course not. Supply constraint, that's major bullshit. I worked in permitting legal farms in Humboldt County. Trust me, it's a huge load of crap. It's classic commercial AG history, agriculture. Many crops have gone through this. I smell baloney. Yeah, and yes, many crops have gone this way, not just marijuana. Magmelodia says this article is propaganda trying to sway public opinion. They cannot make this piece of shit smell like roses. No way. Two redogs. I noticed there was no mention of the huge markup in dispensaries. They have never taken a hit in price. The retail price has barely fluctuated over the years, while only the producer's price have reduced significantly. Yet the taxes are too much, but let's see the dispensaries cut their margins before expecting the producers to once again take the hit. First says, written by the person who pays growers nothing but charges extremely high prices at his dispensary. I remember his buyer bragging about how he was buying pounds for 500 years ago and it was 2,000 from an old woman. This article is propaganda. DeAngelo doesn't give a damn about anything but profits. Derek Bulkley chimed in from Arizona Medical Marijuana Clinic. And he says the size restrictions promised prior to the passage of Prop 64 were never meant to prohibit big agriculture, but merely to slow the flooding until 2023 of corporate money for a few years in order to allow artisanal growers to gain a firm foothold in the industry. Mr. DeAngelo conveniently omits the fact that his consortium lobbied the state to the tune of over $300,000 to have this promise to small growers broken by wrapping himself in the old saw about consumer choice to defend the likes of Monsanto, Archer Daniels, Midland, Cargill, etc. He demonstrates that his loyalty lies not with the nascent industry of pioneers, but with these bank accounts. This is just a rotten deal built on broken promises. Shame on you, Leafly, for letting him write this propaganda piece as an editorial. No shit, big cannabis is the answer. You're the very face of it. Washington State protected small heirloom growers without the dire predictions made in this opinion piece coming to fruition. Kind of like, that's kind of one of the things I was saying is like, you know, he's trying to drum up fear from consumers to get the consumers on his side. Like, you know, didn't he realize that this is all happened before, man? This is not new. Nothing could be farther from new than what's going on in California right now. And, you know, that's quite frankly why California didn't legalize last time they had a petition drive to do it, is because it was already a giveaway to corporations or corporate growers. I don't know why I say corporations, but yeah, it would eventually be corporate growers, you know. Let's see. Let's see. Somebody basically trying to say, you know, hey, we can do this together. So finally, to fucking put a bow on this, California sends several hundred warning letters to unlicensed cannabis businesses. Here it is. California state cannabis regulators fired a warning shot this week, sending out hundreds of warning letters to businesses suspected of engaging in commercial cannabis activity without a state license. Most of the letters, which threaten civil and criminal penalties, have gone out to retail storefronts and delivery services, believed to be operating illegally, according to Alex Traverso, communications chief for the State Bureau of Cannabis Control. Quote, "We've sent out several hundred of these letters in just the past couple days," he told Leafly on Friday. "Much like we've been visiting licensees and doing compliance checks focused on education, these letters represent the first step in the Bureau's effort against unlicensed operators." California has long been considered the Wild West of cannabis regulation, with virtually zero state oversight of the legal industry until the beginning of 2018. As new state licensing requirements kicked in on January 1st, some existing businesses decided to forego licenses, citing high fees and onerous obligations. In Los Angeles, local authorities have arrested at least 35 people during raids on 8 unlicensed retail shops. Los Angeles Police Department Captain Stephen Carmona said at the LAPD press conference on Thursday. Officials have granted licenses to roughly 100 cannabis businesses, but an estimate that 2 or 3 times that number are currently operating in the city. Other cities, such as San Diego, are also cracking down on unlicensed cannabis businesses. Unbelievable, man. And here's the full text of the letters the Bureau of Cannabis Control has sent out to businesses suspected of operating illegally. The Bureau of Cannabis Control has reason to believe that you may be engaging in unlicensed commercial cannabis activity pursuant to provisions of the Medical and Adult Use Cannabis Regulation and Safety Act. A valid state license from a state licensing authority is required to legally operate a commercial cannabis business within the state of California. If you are in fact engaging in unlicensed commercial cannabis activity, you must cease all commercial cannabis operations until you obtain a valid state license to avoid further violations of state law. Please be aware that such violations may result in criminal and administrative penalties, as well as civil penalties totaling up to 3 times the amount of the license fee for each violation. To apply for a license, please visit the Bureau's website, blah, blah, blah. Paul Tuppy, Assistant Chief of Enforcement. So let's rewind it real quick. To avoid further violations, and such violations may result in criminal and administrative penalties, as well as civil penalties, totaling up to 3 times the amount of a license fee. Well, that's cool, but like they said, there's more to it than just the licensing fee. The comment section isn't too populated down here. Thank you, California, for screwing the people who operate as a collective model and only take medical patients. Yeah, this regulation package kind of gets rid of that, don't it? And then here's a differing opinion. To be honest, good. They finally make it legal and a bunch of assholes want to ruin it by making a quick buck. Stupidity never ceases to amaze me. People got to understand that good things take time. So what's that? The 3D chess type thing where you let them do this awful bullshit regulation shit, and then next thing you know it, like, everybody realizes, oh, that's not the way to do it. Let's do it this other way. No, it doesn't work like that. Once you fucking put a law into motion, that's what it exists. It takes a lot of work to undo laws, man. So that's all I got on this story. Long ass clip, I know. Sorry, but it's been long overdue. This is the same shit that's happening everywhere. The corporate marijuana takeover.